Good evening, Fernwood. My name's Neil. Pull up a seat and let's watch Mary Hartman together. We are heading into the April 19th, 1976 episode. That's episode 76 of the series. We're not quite a quarter of the way through the whole run, but you know, that's what's going on. Let's do a little bit of recapping, mostly about, well, last Friday's episode. I could catch up on the whole thing, but I think Friday's got plenty to talk about. The first scene really opens up on Mary to do kind of a brief recap of her story. She's been taking an improvised bunch of medications for her emotional distress, and she is doing maybe more housework than she needs to, and that is a concern. I think that she probably also has some worries about Kathy's relationship to Dennis that she brings up to Martha. There's some other things. Really, Friday's episode didn't talk about most of the things because it focused mainly on Loretta Haggers' appearance on the Dinah show. And just to catch you up in case you're skipping episodes, well, Loretta had an epic appearance. She did a great performance. She had great rapport with Dinah and the audience. The audience really enjoyed her up until the end when she lets out an anti-Semitic statement, uh, and well, yeah, I feel the need to bring up that this show was created by Norman Lear, who is a really legendary producer of television and probably one of the most famous shows that he has created over the decades. One of the shows that gets referenced a lot in talking about television history is All in the Family, which was just 5 years earlier, and that featured a racist and sexist and all the ists main character who was really kind of poked fun at by most of the characters in the show. And I feel like, to lightly criticize that show, yes, they were poking fun at racist characters. On the other hand, other criticisms of the show say that racist people could see, oh, this is where I belong in the world. So, I think that the show is definitely worth discussion. I think that it definitely had some points to it, and I think that it's maybe a little more complex than to talk about these things than any one person might tell you. Norman Lear's created many, many shows over the decades, even up until the remake of One Day at a Time that just came out a few years ago. And apparently, Mary Hartman, as I mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago, is getting looked at for a remake of its own. So, maybe the whole world will be more ready for these stories than, well, I there's a lot to say about how this show could get remade, but let's not do that. Let's just jump into the April 19th, 1976 episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman! And also, you have that wonderful producer, Mr. Tanner Schwartz. And I was talking to the makeup man, and he says to me, he said, they's all Jewish. He said, and Mr. Tanner Schwartz was so nice to me, Donna. I was back in that yellow room or whatever that room.
The green room. We have the green room.
And he was just as friendly as he could be and telling me what to chit chat about and everything.
They are nice. They are really nice people. I'm so proud of our whole staff. They're just darling people. They really are.
I mean, I just couldn't believe that his was the people that what killed our Lord,
Today on the popular television show Dinah's Show, an old specter raised its head once again, the ugly prejudice of anti-Semitism, when Loretta Hager's country singer defamed the entire Jewish people. Station and star were quick to denounce the outburst as was the National Conference of Christians and Jews, which called the remarks most unfortunate. Her defamatory remarks have so far been condemned by the Coalition of Catholic Bishops, the National Conference of Protestant Ministries, and independent religious leaders of every known affiliation for the backward thinking which we all know it to be. And now, for a special report from Hollywood, here is Clete Meisenheimer.
Thank you, John. Mrs. Hagers, the Action News team has flown here from Fernwood, Ohio, to be with you on target in Hollywood to cover this, the most sensational show business story of this or any other week. People are calling it the end of a career. Mrs. Hagers, let me ask you this. Did you understand what you were saying when you said it?
Clete, I most surely did not. And Lord, hun, I mean, when it was explained to me, I just felt so deeply dumb. I just couldn't even stand myself. But, I mean, see, you have to understand that where I grew up and everything.
Go on, hon.
Well, where I grew up and all, I mean, we was just, taught that way, And, I mean, heck, I didn't even meet a Jewish person until I was 16 years old. And I got my first job at the Pizza Hut. And it was run by this fella named Mario Lefkowitz, which I remember thinking at the time is a very strange Italian name, the Lefkowitz part. And then I found out that it wasn't Italian at all. It was Jewish. Well, anyway, Mr. Lefkowitz was such a nice man. He would always put extra pepperoni on the pizza. And when I needed, like an advance salary because my mama was sick and every single thing like that, he didn't just give me 1 week. He gave me 2 weeks extra salary. And I remember thinking, even then, his people couldn't have been the ones that was killing him.
If you'll just refrain from using that phrase.
I'm so sorry, really. But you see, I mean, when you grow up your whole life being taught one thing, well, you just naturally believe it, And honey, I swear this whole thing happened so long ago. I mean, it was like better than 2,000 years ago, wasn't it? Well, I wouldn't hold it against nobody for that long. And anyway, I wasn't even there. I mean, heck, I wasn't even a glint in my daddy's eye 2,000 years ago when that killing was done.
If you'll just refrain from using that
I'm
phrase.
so sorry. Really, please.
Thank you.
You see, the thing I'm really upset about most of all is I didn't really mean to add to all this hate and everything like they're saying on the news and all, because I don't hate anybody. Really, I don't. I just don't hate anybody. And I know that Jesus is my personal, Lord and Savior. Well, he didn't and he wouldn't hate nobody neither. I just don't know why all this hate is taught to little children in his name, like it was accidentally taught to me. Because, I mean, it's got to be a sin, to poison little kiddies' minds about Jesus, who, I found out, started out his own life being a Jew. Did you know that? He was 100% Jew himself, though I've seen pictures of him, and he didn't really look Jewish.
Mrs. Hagers.
But I didn't see any baby pictures of him, and that's when he was really Jewish. But I just can't help but think that the Lord wouldn't like us complicating everything about him so much, I mean, it just seems to me that peace and love and brotherhood and everything should be so simple.
Yes. Yes, it should be. Mr. Hagers. Yes? Turning to you now for some comment. Do you feel that this particular event will cripple your wife's career?
Cripple my wife's career?
Well, as it were. Yes, I realize that your wife was in a tragic automobile accident some time ago. Now then, turning back to the incident, do you think that this adverse publicity will cripple your wife's career, and how do you feel about that?
Well, of course, we have been canceled in our Las Vegas booking, and the people who were going to be Loretta's agents have backed out of the deal. But I do feel that we will recover entirely from this little setback.
I see. Now then, is it true that you have been offered to sing at the picnic of the United Clans of America?
I'd like to answer that, Clete. We have turned that request down flat and sent back the sheet.
Pronto. Well, there it is, folks. You've heard it. Make up your own minds. This is Clete Meisenheimer on special assignment with Loretta Hagers in Hollywood.
And Charlie.
And Charlie in Hollywood.
Forgive me.
One final note, the League of Reform Rabbis has found a bright spot at the Loretta Hagers debacle. Spokesman Rabbi Scott Kevin Applebaum stated today he thinks all the fuss is good, that the attention of the country has been riveted to a very important problem. At the same time in Chicago, Rabbi Isidore Kursky, speaking for the Orthodox Rabbi Convention, condemned the remarks of country and Western singer Loretta Hagers and also condemned the League of Reform Rabbis and Rabbi Applebaum.
And it started out by being such a lovely day. Now what's she gonna do?
I don't know. I just don't know. Do you suppose there are Greyhound buses out of the country? I just can't believe she could have said a thing like that. And the way everybody picked it up. I mean, the news. Look at this, the evening paper. It's right there on the front page.
Well, it's local girl makes good, I guess.
You know, Mom, I feel just the way I did when I was 8 and my parakeet died.
You threw up.
I know. I mean, I'm just sick. I mean, you get a chance to make something you like, to be somebody, and what? It all comes crashing down in flames. Oh, that poor girl, she must be heartbroken. And Charlie, I mean, after all that work and hope and prayer, and I know how they prayed. I just feel like going back to bed and never getting up again. It's too much. It's too much. I mean, it's Kathy and Roberta and Muriel and Mona. And I mean, now this, I mean, I don't know, I just can't take anymore. It's just not the way it was supposed to be. Not at all. No, look, I do not wish to hold. Please, I've been holding for 25 minutes. I just want to talk. That's what I want to do. Please, just let me talk to Dr. Furman. I know he's busy. It's because he's a good doctor. I mean, all good doctors are busy. Also, a lot of bad doctors are busy. Look, you're a nurse, right? Well, I bet you are better than a bad doctor. So could I tell you, you see, what I want to do now is somehow, if it is possible, I would like to calm down. Yes, Dr. Fern, he gave me tranquilizers, but they didn't calm me down. They just made me tired. Yes, he did. He gave me what he called an energizer or something like that, but that just made me jumpy. No, I don't. I really don't want any more pills. What I'd like to know is there something else? Yes, beside pills. I mean, is there something, I mean, like, is there an operation that you could have on your nerves? I mean, I'd have to talk to the doctor about that. Oh, I see. See, let me just tell you this. See, I read about this terrific operation with the stapler. Yes, they used a stapler. Oh, so you mean you think that that's not really an operation? Oh, well, let me tell you what happened here. They stapled the ears. They stapled them back against the head. Now, the reason for this was to stop smoking and to stop the craving for food. You know, they say that the far-reaching effects are not yet known, you know. Oh, of course, the article also said that there was a famous actor who had had his ears stapled, and then, you know, he claimed that it made him impotent. Oh, it's a very famous actor. No, you would never guess who it is. What? Oh, no, I'm telling you, you will never guess who it is. Oh, did you read this article? Oh, well, no, I'm not worried about impotence. No, I'm not for myself. It just, doesn't it seem like a very unfair side effect? A tonic? You're suggesting a tonic for me? You mean like Geritol? No wonder you're a nurse. I could get that suggestion from TV. And I have.
I'm sorry to bother you. I mean, I know we don't even know each other. It's just that I've been watching the news, and I'm sure you've been watching.
The news? What about the news?
About Loretta.
You must have watched the show.
I know. I'm very sick.
Well, actually, I thought it was kind of funny. Yeah, but then I started thinking. I mean, do you think it'll mean more money or less money?
More money? I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
The publicity. They say all publicity is good, even if it's bad. Unless it's too bad, like Nixon.
Look, Muriel, I am just a housewife. I'm just a friend of trying Loretta's. Can you understand that?
What do you mean?
Well, I know that you have lied to them, and I know that you've caused them a lot of trouble, that's all.
Really, Mary? I really don't think it's up to you to pass judgment on our family problems, even though I am not a member of the family exactly.
Muriel, what I'm trying to say is that even if I knew about their financial future, which I don't, it's not something I would discuss with you. I don't know about it anyway. Heather! Heather! I do not want you slamming doors! Heather! Mother!
Oh, but that was stuck. What is that?
What is what?
Well, I saw Heather being chased down the street by a man I didn't recognize.
Don't look at me.
This is the door. Look, Ma, this is Muriel. She lives with the Haggers.
Hi.
I'll be right back.
See if Mary had seen the Dinah show.
Oh, yes, we both watch, and the news too. Oh, Mary was just sick.
Sorry to come barging in like this.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm Evan Cullen.
Oh, you're our new neighbor. You moved into the Fenner's house.
Okay, how do you do? Look, it's just
Yeah,
that...
I'm Mary Hartman. This is my mother, Martha Shumway.
I live next door.
I live next door, too.
Oh, yeah, but she's just a guest. I mean, she lives next door, but she's just a guest. She lives next door on the other side. She lives with the Haggers on that side with the Haggers. She is the Haggers, too. She's the Haggers' ex-wife.
I got pleased to meet you. Look, what I'm trying to
Do you
say
want
is...
to sit down?
What I'm trying to say is that ever since we moved in, your little girl has been snooping around our house after school every evening.
You don't want to sit down.
And just now I found her digging in the rose bushes.
In the rose bushes? You sure it wasn't a little puppy?
No, it was your kid. Now, no offense, lady, but
Mary Hartman.
you can't keep your own kid on a leash.
Ma, do you think maybe it was that little Springer beagle? You know, the one that runs around over on Elm Street over there?
And I'm just going to have to report her to the cops, okay? You understand? Okay, I'll let myself out.
Don't worry, Mary. Let him call the cops. He doesn't know we have a cop in the family. Almost. Oh, Dennis is gonna prove to be so handy. Oh, she was simply destroyed.
Loretta, how do you know?
Oh, no, not Loretta. Oh, I suppose she felt bad, too, but Mary had looked forward to that show for so long. It was almost like she was gonna be on it. And now, everything's ruined.
Oh, Mother, not everything is ruined. So Loretta said something that had to be cut off the air.
But the news, Kathy, and the papers, I mean, she offended millions of people.
But nobody takes that stuff seriously.
I can remember when I was younger, back home before I married your daddy. Oh, there was a lot of anti-Semitism. And, you know, even in my bridge club today, you'd be surprised at those girls. Of course, they're a lot more upset about the blacks.
Well, if it wasn't the blacks, it would be the Eskimos.
Oh, is somebody against the Eskimos? Now what's wrong with them?
Now, Mother, all I'm trying to say is that if it isn't somebody, it's somebody else. I mean, some people just need other people to pick on.
Oh, Kathy, I have a confession to make about our family.
Ours? Well, what's the confession?
Well, it's really, it's about Grandpa. You know, when I was thinking back, you know, when there was so much prejudice and against Jewish people and all.
No, Grandpa's Jewish?
Oh, no, he's not Jewish. But when he was much younger, and I think I was about 13, Grandpa and Grandma weren't getting along so good, you know. So Grandpa used to keep company with my piano teacher.
No, you're kidding.
Yeah, I didn't realize it then, but you know that her name is Bergman, and you know what? I think she's Jewish.
Bergman, like an Ingrid Bergman?
What?
Bergman, Ingrid Bergman, who is Swedish, Mother.
Well, as I always say, what's in a name anyway?
Hello, Kathy.
Roberta.
Isn't this nice? Come in.
No, this isn't nice at all. The Thank you.
Well, why don't you sit down?
Yes, have something to drink.
Well, no thanks. I just came from the stout abandonment room where I've been screaming for the past 24 hours.
Is that one of the courses you teach?
No, it's just screaming because I'm upset.
What about?
You mean you can just look at me and ask me what about? About Dennis, of course.
Roberta, I don't understand. What about Dennis?
That you have been seeing him behind my back.
Well, of course she does, Robert.
Mother, please, stay out of this. I can handle this.
Kathy, I just don't see how you can be so aggressive.
Aggressive? I'm not being aggressive.
And we're so obviously happy. And we're so right for each other. And you can't even get yourself through beauty school. I'm sorry. That was a low blow, and I'm trying to be calm.
It's all right. It's all right. I understand. You're just very upset because Dennis stopped dating you.
Stop dating me. Kathy, I'm in love with him. And he's loved me ever since Mary brought us together. Look, I don't want to come unglued right here in front of you, but I've just got to tell you, I owe everything to Dennis and to our being in love. Our being in love helped me race through my stat course, become a stat teacher. It gave me a fabulous career as Lady Fashionetta. I've even got Dennis in a beginner's course.
You mean for Lady Fashionetta?
No, Mother, for stat. And by the way, he's going to drop it.
Drop stat? No, Kathy. And I'm not going to drop Dennis or share him. So I'd like you just to have a little respect.
Well, Roberta, getting married does not mean sharing somebody.
Are you trying to tell me that he really asked you to marry him? My Dennis?
No, my Dennis. My Dennis, yes. My Dennis asked me to marry him, and I accepted.
I'm very confused. I think I need another couple of hours at the state abandonment room. Oh my God, I just never should have talked to Mary.
Lately, I get the feeling nobody should talk to Mary about anything.
Turn the power pack off.
Yep. Well, that was quite a show, wasn't it?
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, I feel lousy for Charlie. How the hell is he gonna put everything back together again?
Oh, you don't think Loretta actually meant all that, do you?
Well, I hope not. I don't think so. I mean, probably like she explained. It's just the way she was brought up, but...
No, I was talking about that Eden Crow business. Do you know if the shop foreman even peeked in?
Yeah, he did.
Well, all the guys, they wanted to see the Dinah show, but they also wanted to see what happened after. And I'll tell you something else. You know the Jewish guys in the line? They even felt sorry for Loretta.
Wait a minute, what do you mean, even? And they know Charlie same as you and me, George. Maybe not as well, but they know him.
Yeah, all I'm saying is, you know how those guys kind of stick together?
Wait a minute, what are you saying? Are you saying that you don't stick together with your family and your friends? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying that I don't feel necessarily sorry for them. I mean, these Jews, they do all right. I mean, they go to all the good colleges.
Wait a minute, are you saying that they shouldn't even get in, even if they can hack it? Is that what you're saying?
I am merely saying that they own all the show business, and the banks, and the United Nations.
Hold it, George. Hold it right there. You know, that kind of thinking is so narrow-minded and out of date. That's the same damn way you think about the damn union.
Oh, now wait a minute. All I'm against is something that's good being screwed up by do-gooders.
What are you calling good, George? You calling corruption good? We have uncovered bribery, embezzlement, and graft. You call that a good thing?
Well, it's just the guys at the top that want to do their business friends a little.
All right. I don't want to talk to you about it. I don't want to fight with you now, George. Okay, you want to go home? I want to go home. Let's go home.
You know something? You just don't want to admit that you're hot-headed and wrong sometimes.
That's right. I don't want
One of
to.
you guys, Tom Hartman?
Yeah, I'm Tom Hartman. What do you want?
Just a little talk, that's all.
Okay, talk.
This is a private union matter, Mr. Hartman.
Well, I was just going, unless you want me to hang around.
Stick around, George.
Actually, this is no big deal. It's just something we could talk about on the way out to your car.
So you guys work at the plant, do you?
Well, sure. We're in brake systems.
Oh, yeah. Do you know him, George? You ever seen him before?
No, I never saw. Well, no, of course, I'm lousy when it comes to faces.
To be honest, this is nothing heavy. We're just passing along a message. I guess coming at the end of the day, it seems a little strange.
Yeah, well, it does, you know.
Well, my name's Bruce Leghorn.
Looks like a Tom Hartman. Huh?
Yeah, I'm George Curtis.
Hi, George.
George, so am I. George Shelton.
That's okay. They're good guys. So
Yeah.
listen, you run along and I'll check you later.
Right.
Tell everybody I'll be delayed a little bit, all right?
Yeah.
See you, George.
Yeah,
So what can I do for you?
I really apologize if this seems like a shakedown.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay.
Because we really didn't mean it to come off that way.
I understand, fellas. That's okay. How do you want?
Shall we go? Yeah. We'll tell you what's on our mind as we walk to the car, okay?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Freddie.
No, you go first.
That episode was a whirlwind. There was so much stuff going on, and I know some of it is because Friday's episode really had none of the ongoing plots mentioned, but it was literally all of the plots in this episode to use the scandal of Loretta getting canceled to filter through pretty much all of the storylines that we have not seen for maybe a little while, at least an episode, but some of this stuff is like goes back a couple weeks. And I do bring up, getting canceled. I don't believe in such a thing as cancel culture, but I do believe that people sometimes lose their fame, or even that there are campaigns, and sometimes when someone loses attention, that's deserved. I don't necessarily or rather, I do not endorse bullying people for things that they have said, but I definitely feel like holding someone accountable to what they have said is, I approve of holding someone accountable for poor behavior or using their influence in ways. Well, there are so many different ways to discuss this, and I don't know that I want to spend like an hour or two unpacking that. But basically, Loretta is definitely getting canceled. I know, based on, I don't know how many weeks, 16 weeks were at the start of 16, that Loretta really does generally mean well. That said, a statement like she made is not acceptable, and she continues to hold on to it. Now, I know she's in the midst of a stressful situation. She's holding on to information that she had been indoctrinated with. This morning, I watched a video that I'd seen many times before of someone coming out of the Westboro Baptist Church, and the indoctrination put there, which I think is a lot more toxic, or a lot more outwardly toxic than what Loretta had been treated with. Now, Loretta still has toxic values underneath and entwined with some of the things that make her a good person, and that's something to unpack. I don't expect it to happen in this show, but definitely that's where we are. That's what's happening there. Then we've got some of our other characters, and Mary's scene, like literally all of the things going on with Mary, with the medications and her not being able to find that, and of course she's just bombarded with stimuli, and that includes her daughter running away from the neighbor. The neighbor is a character we haven't really met yet, other than briefly in passing, pretty much. The family and all of the things going on there, Kathy, and then we cut to Kathy and Martha and sort of them breaking down the situation. Of course, Kathy blows it off, and I think it has been shown to be possible to say something horrible and get away with it. I don't expect that Loretta will get away with it, but I've seen people say things that pretty much get blown off. And, well, I think that was Kathy's logic in her argument. Then we see a confrontation with Roberta and Kathy, who I think really, I don't really ever see them interacting, so this might be their first like real face-to-face, of course, over Dennis, who I have very they're less complicated feelings, but they're still complicated in terms of the fact that he's got influence in so many people's different lives. Well, I don't like the guy, but they both have feelings for him, and thus there's the clash. And then we are at the factory. And the factory, union stuff, George, the whole George sort of approving of things that are anti-Semitic, and that I mean, I guess we have people in the world, and there are those points of view. I don't approve of those points of view. Of course, fiction has room for people who do things and say things that we don't agree with. But as I mentioned before the episode, sometimes people say things that we don't agree with, and that gives people who we don't agree with room to say, "Hey, this is my place." I that's a real like capsule of that thought there. But basically, I guess I feel complex about George now too. And then Tom is off with two mysterious union related folks, and it looks, well, he didn't seem too scared, but it looks kind of creepy to me. So I guess we'll see what happens there. That was the April 19th, 1976 episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. My heart is like moving fast. I think because so many different things were incorporated into that episode, but also because like I'm processing some things right now. Thanks so much for taking up a seat with me, and we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.